Another day, another sleigh. I finished the Long Ring, Long Land arc of One Piece, and I've got some things to say. Overall thoughts is that it wasn't one of my favorite arcs, but I feel like that was the whole point of it, that it really wasn't supposed to be anything crazy. It was more of a comedic breather because we've been getting like some pretty heavy themes and emotional like wreckage back to back to back. So now we got a little comedic relief, and then moving on to the next one. So nothing crazy on this one that I noticed, at least. Foxy pirates were some of the most annoying characters that I have experienced so far. See, the main pirate was not a villain. He was really more of a pest, more of a joke. There were moments that I thought were funny. It was mostly when he would cry about being insulted by the Straw Hats, which is always fun to see. One of the positive things that I did like about this was Zoro and Sanji finally like working together and realizing that they needed to do that to win their game. Foxy's power was really fucking crazy, but it was really cool to see Luffy kind of figure out how to counteract it. And I did think that Luffy's fighting style in this was really good. I did truly just love seeing like how he was able to defeat him after all, and it just again showed us his intelligence, and he was just so funny and quirky in this one. The story of Tanjiro was actually very funny and sad at the same time, because what do you mean you were stuck on stilts for a decade and all of your friends left except for your horse? The island itself was so fucking weird, but like it was so cool. The Dachshund was hilarious. Just another quirky aspect of the Grand Line. We get introduced to one of the big bad guys of the Navy, Aokiji, I think that's how you say his name. His power left me absolutely fucking flabbergasted. Like, I did not like that, and the fact that he could have so easily gotten rid of Luffy was frightening, because honestly, I think each arc just continues to show us a more powerful enemy. And I'm like, okay, if Aokiji is this strong, how strong are the other two admirals of the Navy, and then the overall big guy, the commander? I didn't like that. It made me very, very scared. And how he came in and was talking about Robin, and her reaction to what he said made me really sad. And I feel like we're going to get her backstory very soon now. And I just know that I'm not going to be able to handle it. I do think that while this arc wasn't super, super important in terms of like the themes that they showed us, it did kind of put this question like forefront of, what if Luffy lost his crew? What if he lost his family? What would happen, you know? And I was like, oh, oh, I don't like that. Definitely a breather arc, a just kind of silly time. I wouldn't say that this is like a favorite of mine whatsoever, but I didn't hate it. I do think it helped that I wasn't watching the anime, because I have heard that the anime is very, very slowly paced, and I think that would have driven me crazy. So, a stepping stone to get to where I'm going. I am a couple of chapters into Water 7. I have already sobbed my eyes out. I'm not going to talk about it yet because I will start crying again. But yeah, so I'm going to go keep reading that. I'll probably do a halfway point check-in for that one because it's another long one, but we'll see. We've seen what happened last time I said that I was going to do a halfway point. So anyways, bye. A ship. I cried over a ship. First up. The fuck do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean that we don't have Merry anymore? I'm unwell. We're gonna circle back to that one. But first up, I want to talk about the themes that we saw in this one, because they were fucking heavy. We saw themes of found family, parental sacrifice, corruption, climate change. Just, it was heavy. This arc really felt like Oda hit the gas pedal and was like, all right, we're done playing around. It's high stakes, and you're gonna be scared, but you're gonna be happy about it. So to me, this arc really exposed a lot of injustices that continue to be done by the political powers that be. The world government is twisting justice to what they want it to be, even if that means bending the laws that currently exist, because it's their way or the highway. They are rewriting history essentially with this keeping the poneglyphs illegal to read and wanting control of Robin. It really just feels like it is complete manipulation of public knowledge, and I fucking hate that. We see some insane themes of climate change with the way that Water 7 operates, essentially, and the fact that this island has been sinking, which makes me think that it's not really sinking, but ocean levels are rising. I don't know. I didn't like it, essentially. At the same time, we're dealing with the grief of Merry and Usopp, essentially, because our crew right now is split up, and it really feels fucking heavy right now. A super emotionally driven and character driven arc, in my opinion, We start with Luffy versus Usopp, which is a fight that we never thought that we'd ever see coming, and I am still very distraught about it. I completely understand Usopp's attachment to Merry because I feel like it goes so much deeper than the rest of the Straw Hats, considering that it came from his hometown, it came from Kaya, it came from the first person that ever truly believed in him, a woman that he loves, and I completely understand not wanting to let that go. He really, really proved that he was worthy of being a Straw Hat in this, and it wasn't like he needed to prove it to anyone, it was more prove it to himself, because we've been seeing so many scenes of him wanting to be a warrior, but then still kind of chickening out and not doing a whole lot. I do feel like he has grown a lot from the beginning of the story, but I feel like this arc really solidified to himself that he deserves to be with Luffy and his crew. He really felt tied to Merry because he was constantly fixing her up, so he felt like his worth was tied to her, and to see her go, he feels like, one, this is part of his history, but two, he feels like he doesn't have a place here now because all he was responsible for fixing Merry. And so I completely understand where he was coming from, but it was so sad to see that the conclusion of that fight was him leaving. I legitimately cannot talk about Merry without being really fucking upset because it is, ooh, I'm gonna start crying just talking about it. A crew member that you didn't even think about, and to have seen that she had a soul and that she was essentially saying I'll get you to the next spot was really fucking sad. And it was basically, it really reminded me of Gachiakura in this sense that the more you take care of something, the more that it takes a life of its own. And this was shown literally, like the Klabo Turman, like to see that there was a personified version of Merry's soul who, like, she tried her hardest to get them there. Like, oh man, I really, like, I have no words for the grief that I'm going through over a ship because it is really fucking sad, because I feel like we're so early on in this journey, we've still got like hundreds and hundreds of chapters, and like, what do you mean that like she's gone? You know, she's gotten us through so much, why can't she get us through more? But that kind of shows us this theme of loving something sometimes means letting it go, and that's a hard lesson to learn. And again, another reason why I think that this is really us entering into like a grown-up stage of this story, because this is something that the entire crew had to deal with, and my god, I need to get myself together. I really feel like this arc like brought us some insanely upgraded villains, because I know that I've said this in every arc so far, but these really feel unbeatable. Like they aren't specifically, you know, devil fruit powers that they can figure out how to beat. It really just feels like you need to be stronger than them, and I don't think our Straw Hats are at that level yet. And so I'm feeling very stressed out going into this next arc because I don't know how we're going to beat them. I don't know how we're going to save Robin. I am not feeling too great, even though I know things are going to be okay. Obviously there's so much more story to come, but I'm scared of how we're going to get there. Are we going to lose anyone? What's going to happen? Learning the identity of the CP9 characters was a fucking shock. I loved Kaku when he first joined. I really did think originally that he was going to be our shipwright. I thought he was such a quirky guy. And to learn that he was a double agent, essentially, along with the three others, it was a fucking shock, honestly, because when we first meet these shipwrights, they felt like such a tight-knit family, and now that just makes me even more scared of anyone that we're going to meet going forward, because obviously Luffy is a very trusting person, and I feel like that's going to bite us in the ass soon. You know what I mean? Like it kind of did in this one, not fully, because it, you know, we hadn't been in Water 7 too long when this all started, but like, what's gonna happen if we bring someone on and then they betray us? I really don't know who our shipwright is going to be, but I really hope that it's Frankie. The fact that he went from being a character that I absolutely fucking hated and honestly was really annoyed by, to me now wanting him to be our shipwright is crazy to me. I really do think that the character development that Oda was able to write in that character was absolutely astonishing, because it was like this complete flip of holy fucking shit, you're actually a dope fucking character. To learn his backstory with Iceberg and Tom was absolutely heart-wrenching, because it was another like parental sacrifice that we saw. Essentially, Tom gave his life away for Iceberg and Frankie, and the comparison to Belmare there was really, really sad, and I was not doing well when I read it. Yeah, those are my thoughts for Water 7. I know that there's a lot that I didn't mention on here. I'm going to do a panel video for this one because I have an insane amount of panels that I took a screenshot of because I loved it. So I'll talk a little bit more there about, you know, what I was thinking. And I've already posted my theory video, which also had things that I read in this one. So yeah, essentially I'm very stressed going into Enies Lobby. I don't know what's gonna happen. I really do feel like this world government is the scariest part of this story. They control so much, they have so much in their powers. I thought this arc was a masterpiece. Like, it truly felt so layered but not overwhelming, and it really showed us that we are headed into some serious heavy shit. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. I am going to go cry about a ship again now. Goodbye. Sorry, but when were you all going to warn me about the ship? Because what? Let's go. This entire arc is probably one of my favorite storylines in a shonen that I have ever experienced. The way that everything Oda wrote about crashed together is going to stick with me in a way that I'll never forget. We start to get some answers on the world at play here, with learning a little bit more about the world government and how it's 170 nations that all came together after the 100-year void in history. I'm still wondering how the world government continues to hold power when in reality it seems to be a very corrupt system where they don't really help their citizens. Really just fundamentally a system that is so cruel and so unjust that I don't understand it, truly. I continue to hate the world powers here. I continue to hate the Marines, the Navy, the elders. Everyone seems to be a complete fucking piece of shit who are on this power trip to just get rid of pirates. That seems to be their only goal, even though there are so many good pirates that we've seen, and then they let bad pirates run amok and do whatever. Like, make it make sense. Because essentially what this saga just revealed to me is that the world government, it doesn't have a mission to protect its people. They have a mission to keep power, and that's it. I saw this with Arlong Park, and at that point I was wondering if Nezumi was kind of a one-off or if it happened in some corners of the world, but it really just seems to be that the entire government is corrupt. And then this whole mission of keeping power is echoed with Spandam, the fucking awful Nepo baby who literally had nothing going for him. He literally didn't care how many of his own soldiers he killed as long as he got the glory of capturing Robin. Also in the Chief Justice, who literally verbatim says that he sentences people without appeals. Essentially, anyone that comes to his doors is going to go to Impel Down. And I'm just like, what kind of fucked up system is this? In the middle of all this, we have Luffy who is like, do whatever you want with the government. I just want Robin back. I don't give a shit about any of this. I want my people to be safe, and that is all. He isn't this character who's trying to be a revolutionary, which they never really are, and then they end up being. He just cares about his crew, and that's what really scares people, is that he is willing to completely tear down a system, shoot down a flag that stands for the world government, and essentially declare war on them because they harmed his friend. And then we got the emotional core of this arc, which was Robin, Usopp, and Going Merry. And oh my goodness, I'm gonna try to get through this without crying again, because I've already done enough of that. It's not even remotely prepared for how emotionally destroying this arc was gonna be. Like, truly, I didn't see it coming. I do think in terms of backstories, Robin's has so far been the worst, because as someone who, you know, is a big reader and I love collecting knowledge and all of that, and I love history, the absolute genocide of Robin's people and the destruction of history and the destruction of knowledge that can never be replaced absolutely just hit so deep. I was a complete mess. Hate isn't even a strong enough word for how I felt about the Navy doing what they did because of knowledge. Meet Saul in this backstory is a gentle giant with a D name, and I'm like, okay, I've got theories about this. I'll make a theory video again later. He was able to help Robin so much, I think, in such a short time. He finally felt like someone cared for her and screamed, please don't leave me alone. I was like already an absolute wreck, because truly, like, she had found someone that cared for her and she didn't want to be left behind again, because that's all she's ever experienced. His sacrifice for her and just that entire backstory, like, absolutely, like, it wrecked me. To the present, when Luffy asks her, you know, if she wants to live, like he still hasn't heard her say it, and she says it in tears, and oh my god, that is all Luffy needed to hear. That is all he cared about, was that she had the will to live, that she wanted to get back to her family, and my god, did I sob. It was the most vulnerable we've seen Robin as an adult, and I just cannot imagine how difficult it must have been, like, to break down those walls within her. When she finally lets herself believe that she can have a future as just Robin, not a criminal, not a tool, not a demon, not someone who shouldn't be alive, but someone that is cared for and someone that has found her people and found the friends that she was always meant to have, because no one is born to be alone. Oh my god. I think Enies Lobby as an arc does a really good job of having everything be really balanced out. The emotional impact, the fights, the world building, everything kind of comes together really, really well. We've got Sniper King, the giants, the world government, the Marines. We've got this whole new island that is kind of fucking crazy because it's centered around this massive waterfall that I don't know what's at the bottom of that. I'm going to start questioning things about this now. The whole community that came together to help the Straw Hats get their people back. That was so beautiful to see, because I feel like we're just going to continue to see more and more people get behind Luffy, and I'm just like, let's fucking go. The most emotional moments in this to me was the King Bulls. Sodomu could no longer keep going, and Gamora was screaming, I made a promise to Sodomu, I will carry you for the both of us. Oh my god, I'm gonna stop crying. I really like lose it when there's anything in regards to animals. Like, Oda is allergic to letting us have a normal relationship with an animal, and the whole like race against time structure with trying to get Robin back was so fucking stressful. When she bit the bridge and was bleeding and was trying to hold on to give them all more time to come save her, ooh, I don't think I've ever been so stressed in my life. And then we start getting gears. What the fuck? Did I like skip a whole arc? When did Luffy learn all of this? Like, what do you mean he just has these 2 extra power levels now that like weren't around in Skypiea? Or I guess you just didn't deem it important enough to use them. But we get gear 2 and gear 3, and I was like, do you guys remember when I said I wasn't that much of a fight girl? I'm taking that all back. Luffy absolutely fucking body Lucci was insane. Like, absolutely fucking insane. Because this was another character where, like, I said it in my last, like, little recap of Water 7 that I was like, I feel like these guys are unbeatable. And to see every single one of our Straw Hats overcome, like, whatever was happening and beat these guys was, oh my god, it was absolute peak. I don't even have a better word for this. It was just peak. I legitimately don't have words for how emotional I was. I mean, you guys all saw it. I posted a reading log. I didn't expect it. I thought that Merry getting washed away in Aqua Laguna was how we lost her. And so I thought that was it. You know, I thought that was the whole shebang with the ship. When she came back, when she saved them from Enies Lobby, ooh, that was like hands down top 3 most emotional moments that I've ever read. Like peak fiction, peak literature. I like, oh my god, my sweet, incredible, gentle, amazing, wonderful, beautiful, sweet baby Merry. Like, that was the most beautiful farewell to a character that I didn't appreciate enough. Was so loved that she was able to become a human soul for a second, to talk to our Straw Hats. Like, what is that? Like, I legitimately can't believe that. Like, and I can't believe how emotional I am over it. Her soul wanting to sail one more time and asking Iceberg to fix her up so she can go save her crew and saying thank you. It was so beautiful. In a world full of powers and crazy shit, the most, like, emotional part that I've experienced is the fucking soul of a ship, man. Like, so I guess I was able to get this done in one part, and his lobby was fucking peak, and I'm so excited to keep going. I did need a little bit of a break because I was so emotionally wrecked, but I hope you enjoyed this. Another day, another sleigh! I had to make a separate video for post Enies Lobby because I feel like way too much happened in, like, this amount of chapters, and I needed to just like talk about it in its own separate video. So, what do you mean Garp, a head admiral of the Navy, is Luffy's grandpa? When Aokiji said that he owed Luffy's grandpa a favor, I could not have ever imagined that that grandpa was going to be someone that was in the Marine at such a high fucking level. Like, I don't know what to think. And, like, I don't even know what to think of Garp either, because he seems like a decent person. You know, you would want to think that he's also a decent Marine, like Smoker is, with a good moral compass, but you never really know. And, like, yes, he essentially didn't really do anything negative in this arc, but he did at the end, like, kind of attack the Straw Hats. So I'm like, so what happens if there are other Marines around that are, like, you know, really, really powerful and they just completely want to take out Luffy? Like, what is Garp gonna do? Is he gonna be okay with it? Is he gonna attack his own grandson and actually kill him? Oh my god, I'm stressed. I'm stressed. And then we finally see Kobe and Helmeppo again. How the fuck did they just completely, like, change how they look? So it's been like, what, 3 months since the beginning of this story? How is that possible? That's fucking crazy to me. We just got so many crazy revelations this arc, like the fact that Monkey D. Dragon from Logtown is Luffy's dad, and the fact that Luffy didn't know that. I'm like, okay, now who's your mom? Who's your mother? Now I need to know this. Is it important to the storyline? Like, I have so many questions. I had so many questions regarding Luffy's parentage since the beginning of the fucking show, because I was like, why is this kid alone? But I didn't fucking say anything. And now I'm like, okay, is his mom important too? Because so far we've got a grandpa who's in the military, a dad who's a revolutionary, and a son who doesn't want to be a revolutionary, but kind of is, because he obviously cares about things being correct and just, even though he's not really thinking like that far ahead. But that's how revolutionaries, like, essentially happen in fictional stories. They never try to be revolutionaries. Look at Katniss. We find out that Shanks is part of these, like, 4 emperors that are against the world government and the 7 warlords, which is kind of dope. And I honestly am not shocked, because from the beginning we saw that Shanks was a good dude. He was a good pirate with a good moral compass, so I'm not shocked that he hates the world government and he wouldn't bow down to them like the 7 warlords. Aokiji's conversation with Robin was really, really shocking to see, and honestly, like, has me questioning all of these different branches of the government, because I'm like, okay, we've got good dudes and bad dudes in here. Like, when is the rebellion gonna happen from the inside? We need a coup right now, because things have got to change. This world government is fucking terrible. Shanks and Whitebeard have a conversation finally, and the world government is freaking out about it, and I really want to know why. And honestly, I did go and immediately watch that fight, or not fight, that little, like, scuffle that they had in the anime, because I just wanted to see what that looked like. And I'm like, okay, what is hockey? Because why did everyone pass out as soon as Shanks just walked up? What is that? And then the fact that no one knows that he lost his arm protecting Luffy, and that no one knows this connection between them. I'm just like, I cannot wait for that to be revealed to everyone, because I feel like it's going to be so fucking cool. See them talk. Shanks is telling Whitebeard that Ace should not be looking for Blackbeard right now, and I am so anxious about that. I really don't like where we're going here, and I hate it. The revelation of the Thousand Sunny was really emotional and incredible at the same time for me, because it really was this, like, acceptance that they have to let go of Merry, essentially, and move forward in their journey. They can't grieve any longer, and they just have to keep going. But the ship is so cool. I'm so happy that Frankie is our shipwright and that he's coming with us, and that he built this awesome ship. I cannot wait for the adventures to come. Usopp's return was another instance of Oda making me laugh and cry at the same time, which he seems to do very often, because I was over here so emotional about Usopp coming back, and then laughing about how it was all coming together. And then it was also really cool to see Zoro have this conversation with the crew about Usopp needs to apologize, because we've all come together because of Luffy, because we believe in his mission, we believe in him, and he is our captain. He's our friend, yes, but he is also our captain, and we can't just defy him when we want to. You know, if that's the case, then you're not part of the crew, you know what I mean? So it was really cool to see, like, him actually apologizing, and for our little broken family to come back together. And I'm just so excited and scared. I keep being scared because I've cried so much, and I know that things are just gonna get a lot worse before they get a lot better. So, anyways, I'm diving into Thriller Bark. I have already met Brooke, and he's such an interesting character. But yeah, bye.